Hello, team. Today I'm back with this challenge, the nucleotide count challenge from exorcism.org. This one is a fun one in that it allows us to play with how we sort various kinds of information. In this case, DNA. We're getting some information about DNA. I'm not sure what the scientific need of this would be, but it's a very interesting way of sorting information. And so the challenge is this. They have some information in here about various DNA, but if we have a string like, say, this, can we sort it into something that is a number like this, right? 3112, which is three A's, one C, one G, and two T's, right? So very, very fun challenge. And it is marked as a medium challenge, which is pretty cool too. I've gone and taken all of that over here to CodePen, where I prefer to work. And here's what we got. I've translated all the tests already, so they're ready to go. And we have our placeholder function, and we are going to try and do this. So if it's an empty string, it should just return a series of zeros. If it's only one letter, that letter should be positioned properly. Lots of interesting stuff, okay? And because we have the tests ahead of time, we are going to start with what I consider just a really messy approach. But then we can start to refine it because our tests will have passed and we will be able to keep them passing, right? Kind of a test-driven development way. Not quite because we've written all of our tests ahead of time, but still kind of interesting. So jumping right in, copying this, bringing it down. I should have commented this one away, and we can get started, okay? The first thing that I want to do is I want to group the individual letters in the strand, okay? And in new JavaScript, we do have something available. It is called object.groupBy, okay? And this is going to take an array of items, and depending on what your sort criteria is, it will place them into their own new object, right? Fully grouped. So really cool stuff. Group by, we do need an array for this. So I'm going to do it right. Come on, there it is. I'm going to spread the strand into an array. And then from here, I'm going to sort by the letter. Now this is an arrow function, so we can just go letter to letter, which is a little bit weird, right? If you can imagine this, this is like a mapping function, okay? So anything that you can do with .map, you can do right here, okay? But we are just sorting on letter. We can return that, so let's return output like this and see what we get, right? And if you look, there's going to be few things, including, oh, I forgot the equal sign. That's on me. So starting out with mistakes already, but trying again, and we get a few things. Now this is something to do with CodePen. Please ignore that. But down here, you can see that we expected, and we got an object as an actual. Right here, let's take the big one, okay? So I'm going to open this up, and the actual is an object with the letters and then an array of all the times that it found that letter, right? Which is kind of weird, but we can work with this, right? So if we go back right here, because this is an object, we have to loop through it different, right? We have to use a for loop. We're going to let letter in output, okay? And the in allows us to iterate on an object. That's what it is. If this was an array, we would use of, right? Let letter of object or output, sorry. But right here, we can totally do that. And it looks like this. We just update this. So we have the specific letter, and we make it equal to output letter dot length, okay? So now if we run this, let's clear this out for a second, run it really fast, and you'll see that we are getting closer. We're still getting a lot of failures, but that's okay. And right here, now we have ACGT, that's 20, 12, 17, 21, 20, 12, 17, 21. We just need to dig those out, right? That's kind of what we're doing. So let's go do that. I'm going to update output. Let's cut that away and go object.values, okay? And because we're here, let's go join it up, okay? So it joins on a space. Now we clear this out, we run it again, and we get failure, okay? And a lot of the failure is because we haven't accounted for these zeros, okay? And the way that we're doing it, it's currently out of order, which is why even though this is kind of right, it's not accurate, right? We have the 17 before the 12, 12 before 17, and then of course we have 5 down here, which is our error state. So we still have a little bit more work to do. Let's take care of the zeros because that kind of takes care of everything, okay? That looks like this. So we're going to take that output. We made it a let, so we can totally do this. And right here, we're going to go A of 0, okay? And of course, we can grab that and bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. And it should be C, then G, then T. And after all of it, we put our output in here, okay? So any of our output, anything that is captured inside of our original output is spread in and replaces these values, which means that now, if we do this, let's clear it out again, run it, and we should see something very interesting, okay? Now again, I don't know what's going on with CodePen today. That's breaking my heart, but a lot of our tests are already passing, okay? The reason that this is not is because, again, it has 5 letters. And if we scroll down to that test, you'll see that it has 2 X's, which is technically not DNA, right? So we need to account for that. These could be any letters that are not ACGT, right? We need to take care of that. So let's go up here right at the start and add in our test case, okay? That's going to be an if. And if we get into this, this conditional, then we're going to throw a new error, which is, if I remember correctly, invalid. I'm sure I'm going to type this wrong at least once today, but nucleotide, not plural, in strand. And if I was really clever, I would have just copy and pasted that from here, invalid nucleotide in strand. Okay, so not plural, excellent. Now we need the conditional, right? We need the conditional. So this one is going to be, again, we're going to get the strand as an array, right? We probably should capture this in its own place, but we're going to clean this up a lot. So stay with me, okay? And then we're going to use every, okay? And we're going to check if letter is in ACGT, no semicolon, that's weird, dot includes letter, okay? So if every letter is inside of here, then it will drop into here. That's not what we want. We actually want the opposite, right? We want it to be if there are letters that are not in here, then we want to drop into the error state. So we reverse it just like this. And now, hopefully, we should be able to run this and we are there. Again, this error, it's going to keep popping up. It's going to drive me crazy. But we're going to ignore that one because that is specific to CodePen. In this case, we're just looking for test 18 and no red inside of this count all nucleotides. Okay. So here we are. We have a passing test, a passing function. Okay. What's the problem? Well, a lot, right? We've made it very messy. We have a loop right at the top in our conditional. We have a loop inside of our group by. That's the map right here. We have a loop right after the group by. And then we have all of this data merging and these values just to get what is effectively a string of numbers, right? A string of space separated numbers. So we're going to try and do this better. Let's keep going. Okay. I'm going to grab this right here, copy it, comment it, and right there. Now, everything in the middle, okay, we have the group by, and again, the group by, it created an object where the key was a letter, and then we got an array of all the times it saw that letter, and we got the length of it, right? That's what we did. Group by, there's two things here. On the one hand, if you're doing this inside of Exercism, might not work yet. Hopefully by the time you see this video, it is working. But when I did this, it didn't, which suggests that maybe they're using an old version of Node or something like that behind the scenes to run this. It wasn't working, so we should probably do that. At the same time, we can collapse these two into a single loop, right? Start getting rid of some of those duplicate loops, and that's what we're going to do. So all this gets commented away. We will delete it in a second, but for copy and pasting purposes, okay? Let output equal, and for this one, again, we need to spread strand. We are going to come back to that. Don't worry, okay? I realize we have that twice, but right here, we are going to reduce, right? And you've seen me use reduce a few times, so this should not be a surprise, right? We have the accumulator, we have the current value, and we do something with them, okay? Now, right behind this callback, we also have an object, okay? And that object has all of these. This is our initial values. We can paste that in, clean it up, make sure that it's all nicely lined up, and this is where we're starting, okay? Inside of here, we are going to increment and return. Accumulator and current, I've mentioned this before. These are the common names for this, but we absolutely can change this. So maybe this is just counts, because that's what we're doing. We're just rolling up some counts. And this one can be letter because it's the current nucleotide in the DNA, okay? So letter seems pretty okay with that. And inside of here, we are going to increment the counts, okay? Which one? Well, it's going to be the one in position letter. So one of these letters is going to get plus plus. If that bugs you, you can also go plus equals 1, okay? Whatever is most comfortable for you, okay? And then, as always, we return count. It's counts before I get too far. I put counts up here, counts. Make sure that we're spelling it right, but we always return the accumulator, which we called counts, okay? At this point, we should get the exact same thing. Let's run it, see if we can see some stuff. Again, that error, but test 19 is a pass, okay? And that is very, very cool. So at this point, we can delete some code, clean it up just like this, and move on to something else, okay? So right here, the next step that I would do is I would take this conditional because it also has a loop in it. But do we need this loop? I mean, we're acting on letter, and we have letter right here inside of our reduce. So maybe we take the conditional and we put it at the top of our reduce. And now we can grab just this bit here where it says acgt.includes, cut it out, clear out everything except for the exclamation, paste it back in so that it's a little bit cleaner. And if we run this, it should hopefully work. It absolutely does. Again, CodePen breaking my heart today. That's a shame, okay? At this point, we have a really solid solution, right? We've cleaned it up. We've reduced it to basically one loop, right? But if we're really looking at this, let's take a quick look, okay? So bringing it down, and you will notice that we create this object, but then we're only ever operating on the values of the object. So maybe what we actually need is just an array, okay? And it looks like this, zeros, just to get us started. And we want to position into these, okay? Now, the way that we can do this, we need a way to find out which letter is which we have right here, okay? A, C, G, T, that's the order that we want it in. So maybe we copy this out, we put it up here as a const. This can be nucleotides. My fingers really don't want to type that, but we are going to get it and replace this. Since we have it here, we can replace that, okay? And then down here, instead of letter, it is nucleotides dot index of, okay? Letter, okay? So now we figure out where the index is based on these 4 letters and increment it, which is excellent. At this point, we can remove object.values and clean it up a little bit. Whoops, wrong way. Let's get rid of that bit. And now if we run this, we get, hopefully, another passing test, iteration 21, right? We can go further because of how we've done this. We can move join right up to here, and we can just return directly and run it one more time. And, of course, it passes. So there's so much more that we could do here. We could go a completely different direction, but if I was writing this for production code, this is probably where I would leave it, right? We're trying to basically get a string version of an array from some sort of piece of information, okay? So bringing it home, let's review what we did all the way back up here, okay? We started out by doing something really, really messy, okay? We had loops all over the place in the every, the group by, the for loop, the data merging, right? There's just a lot of stuff going on here. So we started to clean it up. And the way that we did that was we took these 2 internal loops and we made them a reduce, right? And then we moved some of that information in as our initial values and incremented it and started doing stuff. From there, we got rid of the next biggest loop, which was this every, by moving that into our reduce, right? And then from there, cleaning it up became really, really easy because our initial values, we don't really need to know which letter it is. We just need it to be in a specific order. And so by moving that out to its own line, we can use that in a couple different places. And then all we're doing is incrementing here and kicking it out the door, right? So very easy, hopefully makes a lot of sense to you, right? And if you are up for it, I would love to hear what other solutions you came up with, right? This is not the only solution. One that I played with was around generators. Lots of fun stuff around generators, but I'm not sure that I would do that for this. If you're interested in how that looks, hit me up and I will do a video in the future for that. For now, nice and short and sweet, right? But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of this. And if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and I will see you in the next one.